a few minutes, and we're going to get into all the details of what Jeannette is running for, what she stands for, what new she's going to bring to the table, right? And you know, you're going to hear all about her story and how she decided, why she decided to run for Assembly of District 9. Welcome back to the Hub Podcast. I'm your host and master. Once again, we're bringing you interviews that, you know, hopefully inspire people to make changes in their life in a positive way. And I think we have a very special guest today, someone who I met about a year ago. And the minute I met her, I was impressed with her energy and her focus on the things that affect us, the normal working people, the minorities. But without further ado, she's running for Assembly for District 90. We have today Jeannette Garcia,
Hi.
live from South Yonkers. Welcome to South Yonkers.
Thank you. Hello, Yonkers. Hola, Yonkers. For those that speak Spanish, I'm here with the master.
So, Jeannette,
yes.
off the back, we've seen other interviews. You talked about your history of how you got to Yonkers, but I think we want to start with a very important question. Why did you decide to run for Assemblyman or Assemblywoman?
Yes, I think I've been where power is being created. I've been in the labor movement for more than 10 years now, and I've been in the labor movement for more than 10 years now, and I've been an attorney for 15 years. And in my role, I've been negotiating contracts with union members, creating power, collective power here in Yonkers, in the two hospitals that we have, St. John's and St. Joseph. And I think that the moment really is calling for movement leadership, for fresh leadership that comes from where power is built from the ground up. I think people want to participate in the making of their laws and things that are going to affect their lives, not be around them, but be with the policy that is really affecting their daily life.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you mentioned that, because a lot of people, I mean, when I was younger, I didn't see that many people our age getting involved with politics, but everything that's going on right now, you know, obviously from the government down, I mean, local politics matter the most. What do you envision to bring into the table as far as like new ideas? What do you envision? What's missing in our, you know, in District 90, Westchester, all around that you think you can bring to the table?
I think what I can bring to the table is the perspective of the everyday Yonkers resident. I'm a homeowner in Yonkers, and I go through the pain of being a homeowner, you know, with all the property taxes that we paid. Also, I have nieces that go to Yonkers Public School that really we need to think about what is affordable in terms of after-school programs or school funding in order for our kids to have the resources that we need. And also the Connecticut hikes, like I go through the same dilemma that our residents go, deciding if they're gonna pay their Connecticut bill or they're gonna do groceries or shrink their groceries because they need to pay for their heat now that we have like this blizzard and this cold weather going on. So I commute to the city, so I come from the live and the life experience of the people that live in Yonkers, and I think building coalitions with different community organizations, with unions, and bringing more union jobs to Yonkers is something that I can definitely bring to the table.
So specifically, I know you mentioned unions. What specifically was your role in the union? What did you defend people? They're going to get fired? How you fought for pensions? What was your role in the union?
Yeah, so different roles. So I started my role in the union as an attorney for 1199 SEIU in Puerto Rico as an attorney and in strategic planning. And then I came to New York and started working with the New York State Nurses Association, working as a staff representative here. So I did defend workers in arbitration and with human resources that were being fired or mistreated or treated unfair. And now in my latest role at AFME, I'm a leadership development. So what I do is I do a strategic planning. I implement different programs like immigration programs for our unions. Now, like how to protest, and I develop leaders, the executive boards, the presidents, the executive boards of unions, and also new leaders, rank and files that work for the unions. I do development for them.
So you have a lot of experience fighting for the common person, is what you're saying.
Yes, yes.
At one point or another, you had to make a decision and say, this is what I want to do. I want to become a politician, which I think is very difficult because you're going to get attacked from different angles. I don't know if you're feeling that already on the campaign trail, but how do you manage that? Like when people start talking, you know, either negatively or positively about you, how do you manage that situation on the campaign trail right now?
Yeah, I'm focusing on my doors. I'm focusing on meeting my voters. I'm focusing on meeting the people that live in Yonkers, in listening to what issues are affecting them, in learning about them, learning what they care about. And I think that that's the conversation that we need to have. That's what I have been doing all my life, having conversations with workers about what they care about, what is pressing issues that they have, and then collectively create formulas that will solve those issues in collective, in coalition building, along with the workers, along with the citizens of the city of Yonkers. This is not just a me role, it's an all of us role. And it needs civic engagement so we can push legislation that really affects everyday people's life.
Correct. And you mentioned, you lived in Puerto Rico. Myself, I lived in the Dominican Republic for a while too. How did that shape you as a person? Living in a different, I guess, not society, but a different environment. How did that shape you to become the person you are now?
Well, it shaped me tremendously, right? I was born and raised in Puerto Rico from immigrant parents there. And one thing that I have expressed before, but Puerto Rico, because of their relationship with the United States as a colony, we don't get to vote. We don't get to choose a president. We don't have any representation in Congress, even though we are American citizens. So that really shaped how I approach politics, right? Politics is in our everyday life. Is in the supermarket when we buy food. That's all related to politics. The pricing, the taxes that we pay when we buy food, the tariffs that we talked a lot about last year with this government, to our transportation, how many buses pass per hour, how many tolls we have in the state. All of those are shaped. What admission to the profession that you want, what are the requirements or eligibility for programs that you want to acquire, for affordability, affordable housing, or for even your profession. All of those are shaped by politics and by policy, and that's why it is important to be engaged in politics, and that's why I understood early on, since I was in Puerto Rico, because we in the island did not have a say in a lot of the politics and policies that are implemented in the island from the federal government.
Interesting. I mean, I'm an outsider. I've never been a politician myself, but I do see it like how Yonkers is a different type of animal when it comes to politics. There's the old guard, there's the people who are in charge, there's people who are trying to get in. How do you see yourself fitting in once you running for this seat? How are you going to establish those relationships with the status quo, you may say?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have knowledge and good relationship with some of the state assembly and senators here in Yonkers. We have been across tables, and some of them has been allies to some of the fights that I have been having when my role with the union. And I have other allies in the assembly, like Karen Esreyem and the Septimo, Natalia Fernandez in the Senate is a big supporter, Yudel Catapia, right? And I think that is important right now, especially because of the budget cuts that we're seeing coming down from the federal government, affecting the state and affecting a local level. So it would take all of us in local government, in county government, and in the state government to come up with a plan, come up with creative ways on how we're going to tackle that so people do not feel it and people are not really affected by it.
One of the things that I also hear is that low-income housing, providing enough housing for people, that's a big subject. When it comes to, I don't know specifically Yonkers, but it's like some people are on the sense of like, we don't want our neighborhoods gentrified, that we don't want other people's being pushed out, or are these low income for who? Like how is that? What's your vision for housing for people that need it?
Yeah, so I was part of a coalition of different neighborhoods in Yonkers that it was called United Yonkers, and we were kind of bringing awareness on how the overdevelopment in Yonkers that was happening in the waterfront and in some neighborhoods were not really serving the people of Yonkers, and that we needed more accountability and also some restrictions with these developers in terms of how we are seeing affordable housing within those lines. And we also were talking about reviewing some of the community benefits agreement, if any, that we did not have with those developers that were having tax breaks. Another thing is that we should be thinking as well on affordable home ownership, right? We want more people to have vested interest in our communities, people that want to stay rooted in Yonkers and that want to choose Yonkers at home, for them to have options to really live here by bringing more co-ops that people can buy, or even condos that people are able to access to. So I think we need to have a broader conversations on how we can tap into different programs and fundings that are available for that, because I think that there is a need, there is a crisis, a housing crisis all across the nation, but I think that there's people that wants to choose Yonkers as home like I did, and I think that we need to bring more of that.
Correct. I mean, one of the things I asked Jeannette Williams, so she's an assemblywoman in Yonkers, is that
she's a county legislator.
County legislator. I mix all the politicians all together for whatever reason.
That's fine.
I think most people do that, right?
Yep.
But obviously affordability. But how about in the jobs section of the whole, equation here? Mm-hmm. AI is coming. What's your vision to preparing maybe the youth or people who are at a disadvantage when it comes to AI, maybe losing their jobs? What type of programs do you envision that can actually help people, get more money and afford, better, a house instead of a low-income apartment? What's your vision for the youth and the people who are struggling to get jobs now?
So there are different approaches, right? In terms of AI, there is proposed legislation at the state level to tackle that and to regulate AI. Like, we really need to regulate what AI is doing and how we are doing automatization of systems that really are going to be surveilling or not doing the job that a human does, but it doesn't necessarily have the programming that it needs to really make judgment in eligibility for different programs that people might be applying. These are human lives that are going to be affected. For, let's say, Medicare, that they might use an AI to choose eligibility. So we're talking about people's health here, right?
Right.
So those are things that unions are really taking very seriously, and they're really having conversations. Now, for job opportunities for our youth, there are many unions, especially in the trades, that have apprentice programs, right? Correct. And one of the things that we need to think about when we are talking about development in the city of Yonkers is if the IDA is really capitalizing those developers that are coming here, for them to provide more jobs opportunities, union jobs that will guarantee prevailing wage and benefits for our youth and for the people of Yonkers. And we need to hold them accountable, hold of these developers accountable, and and give teeth and more and more resources to the ADIs, not to give like tax breaks without having something back for the community and for the people in Yonkers.
Correct. And as far as small businesses, they're the backbone of any community. Down and up and down on South Broadway, we have a lot of mom and pop stores that they are probably just getting by. What do you see envisioning to provide incentives for them, or for us who are small business owners? What's your take on that as far as creating opportunities for us to grow as small business owners?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I was just having a conversation this morning is about first identifying which of those businesses are minority business enterprise, that they might not even be certified as minority business enterprise, and start coaching them through that process, helping them to get certified, because that will open up a broad opportunities with the state or the city or local government in order for them to get opportunities to bid for different programs and things that local government has. And also, I think we need to provide our small businesses with resources on how to get permits, right?
Correct.
What are the documentation that is needed, and have a mentorship program, a coachable program, right? Because some of them are just scared of going to the local government because they are just denied the permits that they need, but they are not, there's no companionship within that process for them to make it right, or for them to correct what they need to correct. And I think that's very important, and that's something that it could be just supported by local government and in the state level, if there is programs that do that, I'm very more happy to do it.
Another I think very expensive, how would I say is thing on the table right now is childcare for a lot of people.
Yes.
I mean, it's the prices that you're paying $400 for a child to be taken care of. What can we do to fix or help people who are struggling to provide childcare, or because they need to go to a job and then they're gonna, they have to decide whether I take care of my son or my daughter at home, or should I, put them at daycare, which I can't afford. So what solutions do you envision as far as childcare is concerned?
Yeah, when we talk about childcare, we're talking majority people affected are women, right, and particularly women of color, right. So I think that there is a program right now that Mayor Mandani is bringing to New York City, right? And the governor is backing up that program, and she wants to expand that program statewide and see how it could benefit more families. And I think that we really need to tap into that, because we really need our moms, our dads, our members of the community to be able to go out and work and provide a stability for their families. And not only childcare, I'm thinking even about after-school programs, which we don't have enough in the city of Yonkers that are affordable for people, right? I can say my nieces that goes to the public school system here, their parents cannot afford an after-school program, so it's very hard. It's always a juggle to get them after school. You have to be at 2:45 to get them right there on the spot, and then who's gonna take them and who's gonna stay with them until ma and pa comes out of work. So it's a juggle for every family, and jobs are until 5, 4:30, 6 p.m., 7 p.m. So those are things that we really need to take a look. We really need to address them, because it's something that is not only affecting people that already have children, it's affecting people that, like me, we don't have children, but we wish to have children. We really want to, but we don't know if we are able to afford it. Right?
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how so many people do it with 2 or 3 kids, but they figure it out somehow or another. Right. We've also seen, in politics, specifically Mayor Spano, fighting for equal money funding for city schools at Yonkers. What's your take on how much funding the city itself is getting as far as their fair share? What would you fight for as far as, will you join that cause, or you see a different approach?
Definitely, I will join that cause, and I think we need to build more coalitions in that regard. I think Yonkers is not really classified how it has to be classified in order to get the state funding that it needs to have. So a lot of the school funding in Yonkers depends on property taxes, right?
Correct.
Which is different from what Rochester, Syracuse, and other cities have. So we really need, and I know that Mayor Spano is going during this time, because it's the budget time, to really fight for that, along with Andrew Stewart-Cousins, Shelley Mayer, and other of the Yonkers delegation. But I think that I'm joining that effort. I would join that effort to advocate for it, along with my union sisters and brothers from AFT and the Teachers Union. I think that is super important, because it's not only about the funding for the teachers and all that, it's also the resources for the kids that are there. Right. And majority of the kids that are in the public school system in Yonkers, they're children of color. So it's our communities that are being the most affected and neglected by this formula that is very unfair for Yonkers.
Right. I mean, you just came from the campaign trail. You're collecting signatures.
Yep.
How hard is it to collect signatures and knock on people's doors? Because I don't think I can do that. I say, you don't want to vote for me, I can keep it moving. How tough is that?
Well, it's something that I'm used to. I'm a labor organizer, so I'm used to talk to people every day, all day. It's great meeting people at the doors, talking to them, seeing what they care about, introducing myself for them to get to know me, get to know that I'm somebody that comes from their life experience, that I commute to the city, I come back from commute, that I worry about taking the bus late at night from the train station to here, that I'm worried about Connecticut's high rates, that I'm concerned about a pension because I'm almost 40, so I'm in that trail.
You look 25.
What?
You look 25.
I look 25, but it's sunblock, and I take a lot of water. But really, 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 we really need to to just engage with people at the door. People are craving for connection. People are craving to know who the representative is. And not only that, they want to engage. They want to learn more about politics. They want to know how this works because they really want to be part of it, right? And that's what the feedback that I'm receiving at the door. Yeah, it has been great.
How do you manage the stress? I know you visited the bachata brunch this Sunday, which was crazy. You were dancing, you were having a great time with people, meeting new people you probably in your district or not, but you were interchange. How do you unwind? When it says Jeannette had his space, what do you do for fun?
Yes, so the first thing that I do, I really talk with my family, right?
Okay.
I talk with my mom almost every day. I try to talk to her every day, and with my aunt. Like, those are my rock solid people. And I used to dance salsa at some point.
Okay.
But I do journaling. I write every day what's going on with me, and I read a lot of books as well. So that's how I kind of unwind, and talking with my friends and just like connecting and grounding myself with the people that really care about me before I enter in this campaign trail, and just visiting the river. I have to say, sometimes I just go to the waterfront just to be there and be at peace. I'm an island girl, so I really need to see water every now and then. So that's some of the things that I really do.
What were the challenges of growing up in Puerto Rico and being, obviously you said Dominican descent? We probably, people pass judgment like any society. What were your challenges growing up in Puerto Rico?
I did not have any challenge of that, I have to say. I did not have any challenge regarding to my parents being Dominicans and me being born and raised in Puerto Rico. My friends, like, they will tell you, oh yeah, her parents are Dominicans, but she is Puerto Rican. And others will say, like, oh yeah, she's Dominicana because she knows about Dominican culture. Some of them has visited Dominican Republic with me, right? So I didn't go through those challenges. There were other challenges, right? There were the class challenge, right? I come from a working class family, and then my mom was able to build her profession. She's a doctor and things like that. So those were some of the challenges that I have coming from a working class background, and going to private Catholic school there. That was a big challenge. There were like a lot of rich kids in that school, and I was not necessarily in that same bracket of society. So those were my challenges, things that I wanted that my mom couldn't afford when I was a child. Going back and forth to Dominican Republic to visit my dad, to visit my siblings that were living there, those were like my challenge, not having like my family in one same spot, and just like having to lean into my friends and my neighbors that, we're still friends to this day.
Correct. Now, funny that you mentioned that. Do you see your campaign right now, obviously you're going against someone else who's involved in politics as well and comes from a background of politicians. Do you see that as almost the same thing as your childhood, where you came from a working family and now you're going against somebody who's established in politics somewhere or another? Do you see that same struggle or the correlation between the two, or is this totally different?
I think it's totally different. I'm really focused on my campaign. I think people feel authenticity. I think the voters in Yonkers is highly working class people. They are highly union members, people that have worked hard to be homeowners, to be able to have their small businesses, to be able to grow their family here. And I come from that same struggle, right? And I have dreamed about having, I came here with a dream, right, from Puerto Rico 8 years ago. And I came to Yonkers the third day that I was in New York on a Monday, May 7, I can say 2018.
Wow.
Was my first day in Yonkers. And I was a tenant at that moment, and I dreamed to have a house, to be able to buy a house at some point, and I was able to get it. Like a lot of the workers that live in Yonkers, a lot of the people that live in Yonkers and have some stability. So I come from that experience, right? So I think that I connect with people like that because I really come from that same experience, even if I did not grow up in Yonkers and I was not born in Yonkers, but I chose Yonkers like a lot of people has chosen not only to be in Yonkers, but to stay in Yonkers because they believe that Yonkers is a great place to live.
Correct. And I think we have a lot of immigrants here. And part of that, situation now with immigration, how do you see what's going on with ICE, obviously, what happened in Minnesota, can happen here in Yonkers as well.
Yeah.
what do we need to do as far as making sure that, we're not being attacked, and regular working people who pay their taxes, are scared, may be scared to go to certain places because they might be, pulled up by immigration or something. Like, what can we do to make sure that our communities are somewhat safe from, from government itself?
Yeah, so first of all, we need to support local non-for-profit organizations that are doing the work of educating members of our community, like Westchester Latinos Unidos, like Yonkers Sanctuary Movement, that are really trying to engage the community in educating them in making plans, community plans, neighborhoods watch, in order to protect our neighbors. And I think that's like essential. Second of all, we need to start talking to our elected officials in the Senate and in the Assembly to pass New York for All, which is a legislation that in essence will provide protection to our local communities by making that our police officers, our law enforcement are not doing the job that ICE needs to do. And why this is important? Because even if you're not an immigrant, we don't want our resources, right, to go to federal government and their duties that they need to do, right? We want our local taxes to stay within our local police to keep our communities safe from criminal activity. And that's what we need to aim to do, right? We want these folks that live in our communities to keep running our restaurants, being our delivery people, right? We really need to protect our community, because if not, our healthcare system could be affected. Some of our immigrants in our community work in the healthcare system. They work in deliveries. They work in restaurants. They work in the nail salon. They work in the hair salon. They work, in the construction industry. So we really need to protect. This is not just about people. This is also about economics, and it's an economical issue. And I think that when we see the bigger picture, it's something that we really need to think about. Yeah.
Right. Talking about economics, I think Napoleon said it best. If you go to war, you need three things: money, money, and money. Yeah. So how can people contribute to your campaign? What are you doing as far as fundraising? Because it's an uphill climb, I think, when you run for politics and no one really knows you per se politically wise. You have to raise funds. Yep. How can people contribute to your campaign?
So I'm going to give you an exclusive.
Exclusive?
Yes, exclusive information. So I'm having a fundraiser on March 20.
Okay.
From 6 to 8 at Simple Motive Brewery, okay, here in Yonkers, 222 Lake. You're going to have the opportunity to meet and greet myself, to join our movement, to be part of the conversation, continue the conversation, along with people that have really endorsed me, like Assembly Member Amanda Septimo, Karines Reyes, and also Yudelka Tapia, Working Families Party, Hispanic Westchester Democrats, and others that are to come, not yet to be announced. But also, if you feel that you cannot go to that and you feel the urge really to donate, you can always go to my website, garciaforyonkers.com, and there you can donate. This is a people power campaign. What it means is that it depends on the people of Yonkers, on the people that are out there that really wants to support a good cause, a cause that comes from building power from the ground up. And you can donate $5, $10, $15 through my website. And it's going to make a difference, because every dollar is a matchable dollar when it comes from people in the district. So Yonkers, please support me, support this campaign, support this people power campaign. We also have more information on our website about our campaign and a survey, because we need your input and what are some of the issues that you care about. And that's how we're going to start building our platform.
Correct. One of the things I see sometimes when I see politicians, specifically, minorities, is that you are an inspiration for other people that might be thinking or are just looking to see who's out there. And I think you have a good platform and you have a great campaign going, and you're authentic. What would you like to say for the youth who are saying, politics is not for me, maybe it is? What message will you relay to them as far as the future is concerned, future politicians?
Yes, I think you should run for something. You should run for something. You should run to be president of your class, of your senior class. You should run to be your team leader in your sports that you play. you should run for any leadership. We are all leaders in our own different ways, right? In our household, when you have to take care of your little brothers and sisters, you're being a leader. You're already taking the role, taking the part, right? Get involved, join a campaign. There are opportunities for you to learn about what is to run for office when you join a campaign and you knock on doors and you collect signatures and you help a candidate in any way, shape, or form, even if it is just to answer phone or to give calls to people. So that's a way that you can really participate into politics and start learning about it, right? And have that engagement. But run for something, for whatever you can run in your local communities or groups that you belong to, just run. Just be part of it. I was secretary 3 years of my law school class.
Wow.
And vice president of the American Bar Association when I was a student for my class in the law school. Yeah.
Amazing. So one of the things when I first found out that you were running, I asked you, are you sure you want to do this? And why not? You said, hey, listen, I'm a warrior, soy una guerrera. You told me in Spanish.
Yeah.
Where do you get that confidence? Who was your inspiration to become a politician, or just to have that confidence that I can do it?
Yeah.
Did you have a role model, somebody who mentored you as you were growing up?
Well, my first role model is my mom, right?
Okay.
My mom was a fighter. She migrated to Puerto Rico being pregnant, you know, and she fought it all. She worked as a nanny, and then she, you know, was able to go and became a doctor, right?
Oh, wow.
So with me,
Amazing.
with a child, yeah,
Wow.
you know. So for me, that like she is my top role model, my top, right? After that, I have other role models in my life. Like I have to mention him, Radames Rivera Corazon, 1199, SEIU Executive Vice President. He passed away, so may he rest in power right now. But he was the one that really brought me into the union. I was organizing immigrants in the island, and he really, you know, told me, every opportunity that you have to talk to people is an organizing opportunity. It's an opportunity on how you can impact people's life and you can move people to action. And that has been my principle, just to engage in conversation with people and move people to action.
So May 20th is the fundraiser.
March 20th.
March 20th, this
Friday,
month. This
yes.
month. Oh, okay.
Friday,
and
March
June
20th.
23rd is the election.
June 23rd is the primary election, and I'll be knocking on your door to collect signatures, so open up, me or my team. So I'll see you out there.
I mean, it's a long but short campaign as well, because June 23rd is around
right
the
there.
corner. The months are going by.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't, you know, I don't understand how things are going so fast these days. But any other fundraisers going forward? Any meetings with people, like community events that you may be thinking about doing or you have planned? I mean, this has to go quickly, right? We need to be informed of your movement. You'll track you down somehow.
Yes, there is
know.
another fundraiser coming tomorrow. It's a smaller fundraiser here in Park Hill in the community. March 6th tomorrow at March 5 tomorrow, March 5. Yes. Tomorrow at 29 Rockland Avenue. So we're going to be there, meet and greet, to know the neighbors, people in the community. So hope to see you there. And yeah, there are going to be more events. This Sunday, we're going to be out petitioning. We're going to meet up in the Yonkers Metro North Station. It's International Women's Day. So we are rallying up and calling all women to come out to petition for me and for Leslie Oquendo and Keisha Skipper, that they're running for county legislator, and for myself. And I think these are 3 women, and we are the only women that are running
Really?
actually for county and for state.
Oh, wow.
in this particular
So it's like a women's coalition.
Yes, so we invite you all to really participate, to be there with us. On March 8th at 11 o'clock, we're going to meet there at the Yonkers Metro North Station, and from there we're going to just deploy ourselves to go and start collecting signatures, continue that.
Talking about the campaign, can people volunteer to be on your team, or are you paying them? How does it work? People are, want to join the movement. How does it work?
Yes, so people can definitely volunteer. You can go to our website, garciaforyonkers.com. There's a volunteer sign up there. And if you're not into website, we also have a volunteer sign up in our Instagram account, Garcia for Yonkers. So you can check that up in the bio. There's a couple of different websites, and one of them is to volunteer for our campaign.
Okay, so you
Yes.
heard it from her. If you guys want to volunteer for the cause and you feel that, you know, she could represent you guys, then go forward. You know, obviously, my take on politics is you listen to everyone and then you make a decision, right? At the end of the day, it's your vote that counts as people. And I think you should exercise that vote. Jeannette, thank you for coming. If you have any last words for your audience that's watching, there's millions of people watching us right now.
Yes.
Just joking.
No, I'm just very grateful, Gilberto, Master, however you're called in here. I appreciate you. Stage name, Master. Very grateful to be here, to have the opportunity to also support a small business being here. And I just want to call people to be involved in politics. Local politics is very important. I know there is a lot of noise in the federal government, and we sometimes press a lot of attention to what's going on in the federal. But local elections is who decides when to collect your trash, who is gonna, shovel your snow or plow your snow. Those are things that are important. There's funding for your school, the funding for different educational programs at college level, university level, and even apprentice program, jobs opportunities within your district. So those are really, really, really elections that really affect you. And elections does not end, participation, civic engagement does not end at the poll. We really need you also to show up, to go to our offices, to engage with us, to give us feedback on what are the issues that matters to you. So yeah. I'm here to listen to you, to meet you, to know what issues you care about, and to represent you, because that's what I have been doing all my life, representing the voiceless and bringing them along to build power together, collectively.
Very impressive. You sound like a politician.
I'm not a politician. I'm a union organizer.
No, but you're very convincing in your words, and like I said, I want to thank you again for taking the time to share your vision of what you want to envision for Yonkers, and specifically District 90, right? Wishing you the best, and whatever we could do for you going forward, whether it's ideas, sharing ideas, or bringing people to your cause, you can count on us. Or if you want to come back again and tell us how it's going on the campaign trail, we can interview. But don't forget, March 20th at Simple Motive.
6 p.m.
6
Simple
p.m.
Motive.
It was going to be free beer there, here, right? Maybe.
Yes, we might have some.
There's going to be some music there.
And Simple Motive is a small business, woman-owned in our district. So it's important for us to support our business in the district as well. Yep.
Again, thank you for sharing your time with us, and thank you for taking the time to express your ideas. And hopefully you guys make a sound decision on June 23rd, whether it's Jeannette or someone else. At least you're hearing from her what her proposals are as far as her vision. Thank you again, Jeannette.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll see you guys next week, maybe with another politician, or maybe just an artist. Let's see. Somebody who can inspire you to become a better person and go for your dreams, follow your dreams. I am Master, and this is the Hub Podcast. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Revuelto Clemente. ¿Sabes? Porque estamos en pelota.
Yeah. VR or VR?
No,
I asked you that.
You should ask me.
So classic.